p.m. on Tuesday, April 25th. Would like to go ahead and call the Whitestown Redevelopment Commission meeting to order. Start off with a roll call. We will go Megan Swain.
Present.
Kyle Weathers.
Present. Clinton
Baum.
Howdy.
Brian Brackmeyer present as well. We'll go ahead and start off with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get started, would like to actually amend the agenda under new business. Would like to add an item E, which is considering the scope of services for Reedy Financial to provide financial services to the Redevelopment Commission. So I would like to entertain a motion.
So move the agenda be amended as stated.
Second.
Second.
All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. So add that under new business, item E. First item on the agenda is a public request to speak. Would like to open the floor for anyone that would like to speak. Seeing no one, we will close the forum and move on to the approval of the minutes from March 13th, 2017. Has everyone had a chance to review those?
Mr. President, I move the minutes as presented.
Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. Would like to go ahead and call for a vote. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Minutes are approved. Seeing we have no unfinished business, would like to go ahead and move on to new business. Item A is a public hearing considering a resolution enlarging the Legacy Core redevelopment area number 1 and allocation area and amending the redevelopment plan for said area, which is the RDC resolution 2017-4. This has been going on for quite some time, so would actually entertain Dax to come up and talk through that process if you're so available to do so.
So open the public hearing.
Yep.
So we'll open the public hearing, then we'll close it, and then I'll come up and talk.
Would like to go ahead and open the public hearing for considering the resolution. Now I would like to officially close the public hearing.
Mr. President, I move that we close the public hearing.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Perfect. Mr. Norton.
So as you consider this, yes, you're correct. This has been a process. You've heard a declaratory. It's been in front of the council as well, I believe, if I remember correctly. Plan Commission has heard it as well, and now it's back to you for confirmatory. You've since held the public hearing. As you can see, no one came up. So what this is that we created the Legacy Core TIF in late 2014, if I remember correctly. Maybe it was earlier, mid, but I know we were created in 2014 for the purpose of the redevelopment of the Legacy Core, which is that original section of town. Let's see, it was probably late last year that we began this process. I know we started to have discussions about this process of creating a TIF that would encompass some of the industrial out off of Albert S. White and County Road 575. In those discussions, we said, hey, why don't we just expand the Legacy Core TIF so that some of this increment could assist with the redevelopment of the Legacy Core. It only makes sense for the industrial to be assisting and helping out in the redevelopment of what was, since they're what's coming in, and we don't want what's coming in to be detrimental to what was and cause it any economic strain. We want it to help. So therefore, what's in front of you is confirming the enlargement of that increment financing allocation area.
From a process perspective, now that we've had the public hearing and it's gone through all these other steps, is there a certain period of time we have to wait before adopting the resolution, or
You can adopt tonight.
we can adopt tonight?
Yes, that would be the goal. Some of the projects that can be included in this are infrastructure for a business park north of Amazon, corner of 500 East and Albert S. White. Also could be improvements to Anson Boulevard, could be improvements to 575 East, could be improvements to the sidewalks, lighting, benches, building of promenade, enhancement of the Big Four Trail and the Legacy Corps. This TIF will fund multiple different projects. So I want to be careful about it only being a developer-only TIF. But this is not the intention. So it's not like Valenti held when they did Perry Industrial or when they did Maple Grove, which was a kind of a developer-only TIF for a while. That's not the intention of this enlargement. It will help development. It will help developers if they need certain infrastructure, such as the improvement of County Road 500 East, which will have to have substantial improvement. So that's the whole purpose of the enlargement of this TIF, to include the areas of the industrial along with the Legacy Corps.
I know we don't have any maps in front of us, but does everyone have a good idea of where this enlargement would be when you encompass the Legacy Corps and go north of Anson into the potential?
Yeah, I think the map is in there.
Yeah, it should be at the.
It maybe Dennis probably has a better map. It's the same maps that you saw in the declaratory resolution. It's the green that I originally had created, and yeah. So if some of that land is designated as green space, the land between Walker Farms and the industrial is designated as green space recreational in the comp plan. One of the goals there is for the town to potentially get control of that ground via a purchase and develop a park, a real nice recreational park setting, to basically buffer the residents of Walker Farm from the from the industrial. So it'd really be almost what is it? That's a quarter mile. It's essentially almost a quarter mile buffer. So that was the point. And so some of this will be in there. That may not produce taxes in this TIF. Okay, so but there is an opportunity for some tax-producing, for-profit, recreation-focused retail in this green area. We set the comp plan up that way. So this helps the comp plan as well. And Councilman, I know that that's near and dear to your heart. So it's one of the points for the enlargement of this as well.
I think one of the two main positives about what we're doing tonight. One is that with the area that Dax is talking about is that because of the way the comp plan is set up, as he's alluding to, we still allow the ability for green or recreational businesses to come into this area while keeping it as this buffer area, so that the families of Whitestown will have a good place in which they can go and relax and enjoy themselves, but also have other amenities that may not be all funded by the town, which is a positive in and of itself, while also creating tax revenue for the TIF. The second one would be that with what we're dealing with, and we're talking about upgrades and improvements to the Legacy Corps, we've already taken out bond dollars to take care of a lot of the storm sewer issues in the Legacy Corps. As those issues are taken care of, as the flooding starts to go away, and then more businesses come into the area to develop and to improve in the Legacy Corps, money from that can then be used to take care of these other projects and create this ongoing cycle of improvement for the Legacy Corps because of the investments we've already made into redevelopment.
And I would agree to that same sentiment too. We've talked so long about Whitestown as far as the whole live, work, and play atmosphere too, and where a lot of other communities have that. They don't really have TIFs set up where you're able to still benefit, where it's just that work only, where this allows you to give the necessary infrastructure so you can live, work, and play too, where you can have that quality life intimate as well. So any questions for Dax while we have him here, or for anything else for the good of the order?
Mr. President, I move the adoption of resolution number 2017-04.
We have a motion and a second. We'd like to go ahead and entertain a vote. So all those that are in favor in adopting resolution 2017-5, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion carries.
So 2017-04, correct, Mr. President?
Correct.
All right, thank you.
What am I looking at? I was moving along on the agenda too much?
I mean, you're being super efficient today. My family thoroughly appreciates it.
We'll get to you home to them as quick as we can. Next item on the agenda is item B, which is considering an appropriation resolution to the Town of Whitestown Redevelopment Commission, which is resolution 2017-5.
Is this the blank? This is not the blank. This is not where we have the blank exhibit, right? give me copies.
This is the appropriation for the bonds. That's one of these.
There's two here that deal with these bonds. I just wasn't sure which, I forgot which one was which. So this is the appropriations resolution for the bonds, and then the approval resolution for the bonds. So when you approve bonds, we obviously get money, and there has to be a resolution for appropriating that money, and that's what this resolution is. The bond we're talking about is the ban that we talked about in the last meeting that you gave me your blessing to move forward with. That ban is basically will fund the Whitestown Parkway Improvement Project, which I'll get into when we talk about Resolution 2016-6. So this is strictly just an appropriations resolution to put that money somewhere to do this project.
Right.
Okay.
And from when we were talking at the last meeting, I think the estimates were about $1.2 million or so. So this extra would ensure that the town would not need to come back for additional appropriation.
No, actually we have better numbers. So what I'm about to say is going to get a little better.
Mr. President, I move the adoption of resolution number 2017
We need to open a public hearing on the appropriation before we adopt.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's correct.
Would like to go ahead and open the public hearing for appropriation for resolution for adoption for resolution 2017-5. Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing for them.
Mr. President, I move that we close the public hearing.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries. Now I would like to go ahead and entertain a motion to consider resolution 2017-5.
Mr. President, I move that we adopt resolution number 2017-05.
I'll second that.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say abstain, or say nay. Resolution carries. I would like to go ahead and move on to item C, which is considering the resolution authorizing the issuance of bonds, which is resolution 2017-6.
So,
Do we need a public hearing for this?
no, this is not a public hearing.
Okay.
Just appropriations or public hearings.
Well,
So everybody got a letter, I think, twice for I think we sent it out twice for the public hearing for the appropriations resolution.
That was for the TIF.
Okay, yeah, that's right. So this resolution is the issuance of the bonds that we talked about at the last meeting. We've talked about it on the council level as well, and they passed their resolution. So the Whitestown Parkway Improvement Project, which coincides with the Whitestown Parkway Beautification Project. The Whitestown Parkway Beautification Project is underway. Our engineers are in full steam ahead now with that project. We're talking with the artist for the public art. It'll be pretty amazing when completed. This project originally was what we called the Whitestown Commons project, which would have built an awning in this parking lot, a wall around the parking lot to be the farmers market commons. We determined that because this may very well be a temporary location for this facility, and that this ground will get quite valuable as Anson continues to build out and we're the last parcel left, that might not be the best use of this money that's coming from the Maple Grove TIF. There's excess allocation every year. You've already done one bond that helped to pay for some other items, including the reconstruction of exit 130, the roundabout, land acquisition. The median was supposed to have been paid with that, but we actually got to pay for that with MVH, so we had a little bit of money left in the Maple Grove bond. That actually we have about $450,000 that's not accounted for now in the Maple Grove bond. Purchasing of the ground for Baca Road came out of the Maple Grove excess. It did not come out of the bond. And then the building and resurfacing of Audinger Drive, which is behind Lowe's with the trail, was paid for out of the excess from Maple Grove as well. Boutwell Drive was also Maple Grove bond. So this new project is we need to resurface Whitestown Parkway, from Perryworth Road, just east of Perryworth Road, to just east of Stonegate Drive. And in the process, we will also build a walking multi-purpose path on the north side of Whitestown Parkway from West Haven to connect to our walking path, which currently exists on the east side of Veterans Drive. Also in the projects, we will build sidewalk / side path right here on the north side of Boutwell Drive from the trail past this complex down to where the sidewalk is here. It will cross in a crosswalk over to the south side at Villages 3, and we'll head all the way to the first roundabout down Heartland Drive, down Boutwell Drive. We will ask permission from the banks to build the sidewalk on the lots that they own and that they're not developing at this point, because people have to get off the sidewalks that exist and onto the street, including myself on my walk here from home. That is really the extent of, a sidewalk down the Central Boulevard as well along the south side of Central Boulevard, because right now there's sidewalk on the north side. That sidewalk on the north side ends after the self-storage buildings, but will continue on with the Spectrum project. So when Spectrum is completed with the assisted living facility, it will connect to the sidewalk in front of Baca, which will connect to the sidewalk in front of the Hampton. So we'll have sidewalk completed on the north side. We just need sidewalk on the south side. So those are the projects really that this 1.1 million, this actually will be $1 million net, will fund. Right now we have estimates for the resurfacing sidewalk projects in at about $610,000, including engineering, which is very good. That means that we could likely pay for the Whitestown beautification project out of the same funds. So the landscaping beautification project could likely be paid for out of the same funds and not have to be paid for out of the original Maple Grove bond, which would give us some additional money to do an additional project related probably to the roundabout, likely the resurfacing of Indianapolis Road as you head south towards Eagles Nest. So that's where we are.
Part of that beautification project, is that going to include the lighting as well?
Will include the lighting, yes. There will be some lighting added. There won't be lighting in the medians. There's not enough room really to add lighting in the medians, number one, and we have electricity issues, number two. So
I have to tear up the road too.
we have to tear up the road.
Yep. Well, that's exciting for me. That's one of the main goals I want to accomplish on the redevelopment commission, as far as the beautification of Whitestown Parkway, which I think is really our true gateway into town too. So also excited to hear about the all the walking paths and sidewalks added as a part of this Maple Grove TIF. So any questions for Dax, or as far as from these projects themselves, timeline, cost?
What is the timeline?
The engineers for the beautification project said they'll get us, we should go to bid sometime in late May, so 30 days, and you're in the end of June to open the bid. Construction, if you will, or plantings or whatever takes place, the footers will have to be poured, the pedestals for the public art, probably likely July, first week of July, and can continue on through the fall for those plantings that need to be planted in the fall. Whitestown, the resurfacing, it'll be in front of the council on May 10th. We'll get that to bid immediately. It'll go mid-May bid, mid-June opening of the bids, award, and then start construction 1st of July.
And that'll be done before the roundabout is done on Indianapolis?
Yeah, roundabout, really, you won't see any construction on the roundabout until next spring. You'll
Okay.
see utilities being moved shortly. Probably that'll start in July or August for the movement of utilities. The land's being purchased right now. So you won't see any construction or lane restrictions until next spring for the roundabout.
Perfect. Any additional questions for Dax?
Not question, just comment that appreciate this project and what it's doing to work together with other projects in the town with the beautification and also with the signs that were purchased were two major parts of the comprehensive plan was a gateway concept, making sure that our entryways into this town are, top notch, because that's what's going to show off our community and make us, stand out from others in Boone County and in the state of Indiana. Additionally, becoming more walkable and connected, being able to get from one part of town to another part of town just by using the sidewalks and trails, and the infrastructure that we're creating with projects like this is a very positive step forward for all generations, from millennials through baby boomers. So this is a great step forward, and I'm really glad that we're able to do this today.
That's my most exciting part. I think making this town accessible by foot, especially back here where it's harder to walk sometimes to town hall and the farmer's market. I think that's a huge plus for this town.
I'm really excited about it, just like everyone else.
Perfect.
Ditto.
Well, everyone's excited. Now I would like to go ahead and entertain a...
Mr. President, I move the adoption of resolution number 2017-06.
We have a second.
I'll second that.
I'd like to go ahead and open it for a vote. So all approve, say aye.
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 The opposed, say nay. Resolution 2017-6 is approved. Moving on to item D, which is consider of approval for the Moontown EDA. This is a project that's been going on for a couple
15
years,
months.
But with excitement, would like to go ahead and open the floor for Dax to give us an update on where we are and a little history of the project.
So roughly 15, 16 months ago, we started the process to transfer this building to the redevelopment commission from the council. We then put it out to bid on the market for potential purchase. Got no bidders on the building, and have now begun the process of transferring the building to Moontown. I can't remember. Moontown LLC. I can't remember where we landed on that. They've changed the name a couple times. A brewery. I can tell you that they've been in the office for a pre-construction consultation with Lauren and all of us, and it is beautiful what they want to do. They want to build a parapet on it. It likely will not be yellow any longer. The parking lot structures are very nice. We're going to upgrade an alley with the project. The entertainment facility will seat up to 300, which I think is fantastic. Now we know that there will be traffic-related items that need to be addressed, so we understand that. Their timeline is kind of a soft opening of a tasting type facility and the entertainment center this fall. The full opening of the public house, this is the restaurant, the public house, and the brewery itself in the spring/early summer of 2018. Vectron called me today. They're all ready to go of extending natural gas lines in phases. The first phase will be to the brewery. The second phase will be to way north to County Road 200 South. That'll take care of Main Street, and then they'll trunk off from there for people to be able to hook on to natural gas. So this project is starting to have positive effects on other things that need to be done for the legacy core to be economically vibrant again. I think they estimate somewhere along close to $2 million of investment, if I remember correctly, into a building that we own, so no taxes are being paid, we being the town, actually we being the redevelopment commission now, so no taxes are being paid on it. And it's obviously a significant piece of history for the town. They do have an intention of bringing that half of the court that they're using as the entertainment center. They're going to actually bring the stage back to life. That used to be the stage. They're going to do that, and they're going to make it look like a basketball court, like it used to be as the old high school gym. We're excited about it. They're ready to go. This is the last step in the process. You signed it. The council approved this document and signed it. The last step of the process is for you to approve it and sign it. Actually, second to the last step, the next step will be closing. So we'll take it off of our hands and put it into the hands of the owner of Moontown. I think we've come to a good agreement in this EDA. You know, we struggled with clawbacks. Clawbacks are hard with this. We found, we being staff and in talking with council members, that the return on investment isn't much more important potential return on investment is much more important than the risk of loss here, because our loss really is we give a building to a for-profit. If something goes wrong, eventually it gets back into the for-profit market. We wanted to have a little bit of control on what it would become, which we did put deed restrictions in this document. It's hard for them to give a building back to us, but they will owe us money. If you remember, part of this deal was that we'd put a roof on the building, which they are going to be doing. We're going to be approving those bids. We're going to reimburse them when they get a CO, which I think is a good idea. That's a good carrot. When they get a certificate of occupancy, we will then reimburse them for the roof not to exceed a certain amount of money, which is in the EDA. I think it's $125,000 if I remember correctly. The parking lot to the east, we will also be reconstructing a parking lot to the east. We have rough estimates of around the $30,000 range, which fits right with the EDA. And if they don't get a CO, then they owe us for those improvements. So I think we're at a very good place, and it is going to bring, I'm telling you, it's going to bring a lot of life to the legacy core and add an increment into this TIF. I'm really excited about it.
Can you remind me again when the town gained control over the building and also some of the other interests that we've had along the way too that just didn't pan out?
Yeah, 2012 was when the town purchased the building. It was originally for the Stellar Communities project, which we applied for, I believe it was that year, if I remember correctly. Did not win any of those grant dollars. That's probably an okay thing.
Yep.
It was in the Legacy Core revitalization plan to be built as a community center. We then, in late 2013, when I came on board in early 14, got estimates of what that would cost. Estimates for us to bring it up to code, which a community-owned building would have to be, was about $3.5 million. And we knew at that point that probably was not a feasible project in that particular area at that time. That was best to turn it back into a for-profit tax-paying entity. And a couple breweries talked to us prior to Moontown. Moontown, Pete and his family are local. They came to our first Brew Fest. His son won the homebrew contest that year, and it all kind of fell into the whole project started from there. And we've obviously gone through another Brew Fest, and now a couple of months later, and here we are. I think it's a great project for the town.
I agree. Initially, this was meant to be a community center, but I'd say now it's almost a blessing in disguise, because I'd say now the new community centers are breweries and event centers like this too, where people love to go in an atmosphere like this. And also it's going to be, a private company that's going to be paying taxes. It's investing $2+ million into a facility downtown that will help spur additional economic development and make things a little more fun for the Boone EDC and our partners to help attract new life downtown. So I'm excited for this. It's been a long time coming, but this should be a good opportunity for the town to help revitalize the legacy core.
I agree. It's going to be a huge difference downtown.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I move the adoption of the Moontown EDA as presented and authorize President Brockmeyer to execute on behalf of the RDC.
Do we have a second?
I second that.
I'd like to open up for a vote. So those approve, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. The EDA carries. Final item on the agenda, we have a scope of services prepared from Reedy Financial Group to provide an engagement letter to the town to provide municipal services and financial services to the town. Would like to invite you to give us a little more information about this.
Absolutely.
It's now.
Gary Smith, Reedy Financial Group. We serve as municipal advisor for the town on a variety of different issuances in the past, and as part of our SEC requirements, we're required to be engaged to perform MA-type work on behalf of the Redevelopment Commission. So what I have in front of you is an engagement letter that outlines the scope of service for those services. And in addition, there's also a disclaimer in there that outlines any potential conflicts of interest and things like that per our compliance rules. So it's pretty standard legal document as far as our engagements are concerned. Assisting Dennis and Century Bank, Centurion?
Sincere Bank, yeah.
Centurion Bank, in connection with the issuance, preparing all the financial data, anything else that they may need, things like that. So.
Again, for members of the commissions, apologize that this came up of short notice too, but it being a financial-based entity controlling the TIF areas all throughout the town, it's important to have this existing relationship in place. So would love to open up the floor to ask any questions of Rudy in the past. I think they've been a great partner for us throughout controlling the TIF districts in the area.
Dennis, has the letter been reviewed by legal to make sure that it complies with all of our other agreements?
Yeah, we received it earlier today and reviewed it, and I'd just like to echo what Gary said, sort of the changing regulatory environment in the last, well, now it's 4 or 5 years. These types of agreements are required for municipal advisors. Just kind of add on to that, the financing that you've approved earlier has probably gone quicker than we thought, which is a good thing. Since your bank has provided a quote that we talked earlier today, and it's actually a very good 2.3% interest rate. To move forward, we need to kind of get this this taken care of, and the agreement is, like Gary said, it's a standard agreement.
Okay. Mr. President, I move the approval of the agreement and authorize President Brockmeyer to execute on behalf of the RDC.
We have a second?
Second that.
I'd like to go ahead and open up for votes. So those that approve say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, George. I appreciate it. With that said, I'd like to open up or entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. President, if I could real quick, I just wanted to make a quick point. In our minutes from the prior meeting, we had discussed a new CF1 review process being established as we're talking about those things coming due, and now that we're getting close to, we're not going to be able to do that this year, of course, because of the timeline. But I just wanted to make sure that I brought it up again to keep it on everyone's minds as we start to move forward, so that we have plenty of time to get that taken care of, so that come this time next year, we're going to have a great process established and ready to go. So just want to make that quick note, sir.
No, I appreciate that. I've actually been gathering my own data internally for some of our other communities are doing throughout the state on how they approach their CF1 review process too. So I'd love to connect with Dax and then hopefully have something to report the next meeting on some ideas on how we can help improve this process too.
Thank you for your work on that so far, and look forward to seeing what comes out of it. And with that, Mr. President, I move we do now adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Have a good night, everybody.
No one